Oh, hey. So I had this idea that came up in my mind to make a tier list on some of the things that I like uh, in the perspective of being in Singapore. Some of the things that I like to do, some of the activities that I do, and I think one of them to kind of start off a little bit is expressways. That's right. It's probably one of the more rare topics that I don't think a lot of people, would make a tier list on. But I figured I'm going to tier list all of Singapore's expressway. Every single expressway, 10 of them. We have 10 expressways in Singapore. So basically, I'm sure. I mean, this is practically to the Singaporean viewers. Okay, if I'm very sure you have traveled on the expressway at least, not even once, maybe like at least 5 times in your life, um, either by car or by bus or by a taxi or cab or whatnot. Okay, I'm sure you've rode on these expressways before. Today, I wanted to actually tier list these expressways um, based on two factors. Okay, one one is from one is from perspective of in which perspective, and the other one is on the um, on one of the factor what how using that factor to tier list these expressways. So um, the perspective that I want to tier list this from is from the riding of buses. Basically, this is from my again before I continue. This is all in my opinion. By the way, whenever I tier list these expressways, these are obviously just in my view what I feel about these expressways. Okay. But anyway, these expressways that I travel on, I'm going to put these on the perspective of riding on buses. So there will at least be one service. There will at least be one service that will apply the expressway, or at least some part of the expressway, um, on every of the 10 expressways that we have in Singapore. So I will talk about this in the perspective of riding, of me in the riding of buses, not from a car riding perspective. So basically, I'm not going to rank these from the perspective of me riding from a car. So preferably from me riding of buses. From my experience of riding buses along these expressways, how I feel about them, and ranking, and I'll rank these expressways. And the factor that I will base this on is from the whole from how congested the expressway is, or rather, or in other words, the traffic flow of the expressway. What I feel is the traffic flow for these expressways. So to begin with the tier list, I think one one I think something that maybe some of you would agree with me are the most congested expressways, which I would say would be placed at F. I think we can start off with PIE. PIE is probably the most congested expressway of all time. Okay, PIE and CTE, rather. We can put them in F tier, but I'm gonna just I will this may change later on in the video, but I think my view is that the Pan Island Expressway and the Central Expressways are probably the most congested expressways in Singapore. Oh yeah, actually, before we continue, actually, I forgot to introduce, in case you don't know what all these acronyms are. PIE is the Pan Island Expressway connecting the west and the east. CTE is the Central Expressway, which connects I would say the central, literally as what the expressway name is called, the central part of Singapore, to the city. ECP is the East Coast Parkway, which connects Changi and the East region to the city. BKE is Bukit Timah Expressway, which connects, I would say, the northern Woodlands area around there and Bukit Panjang areas to the city area via the PIE. TPE is a Tampines Expressway, the which connects the northeast region to the east region. and SLE is Seletar Expressway, which connects from the northern region to the northeast region or to the central region. AYE is the Air Raja Expressway, which connects the western part of Singapore to the city. KJE is Kranji Expressway, connects Choa Chu Kang, I guess Choa Chu Kang and UT actually to the BKE. KPE connects the northeast region to the city via the MCE, and MCE serves as the 5 kilometer expressway, which is the KPE is the Kallang Paya Lebar Expressway. MCE is the Marina Coastal Expressway, which connects the city to the KPE. So yeah, so a few of these expressways are rather just like connectors to another expressway, and connectors to the expressway that will connect to the city or connect to the other parts of Singapore. So, of course, for now, I wanted to actually just rank PIE and CT as the F tier for now, because in terms of again from bus perspective, okay, the most congested, okay, and traveling on these two expressways on the bus, even on car as well. Actually, I have gone on these two expressways, riding cars as well, but again, bus perspective, but because also car experience, a little bit of car experience. You, I think some of you can agree that PIE and CT are the two most congested expressways for some reason. PIE I can understand, and CT actually makes sense because they are like the more bigger highways, more heavily utilized highways, I guess from the naming of it. But for now, I'll leave them to F tier for now. Okay, F tier because of the fact that they're really congested. So let's start with ECP then. Okay, so ECP is the East Coast Parkway. The East Coast Parkway usually is served by 36, Service 36. Service 36 is a service that goes from Changi Airport and connects to the city, but passes through the Marine Parade area. So, traveling on the ECP with Service 36 actually is not so bad. This one I would put it I would probably put it around maybe like B tier maybe, I would say. I would anything in S tier, by the way, is means it's a 10 out of 10 for me. A tier would be 8 and 9 out of 10. B will be 7 and 6. C will be 5. D will be 4 and 3. E will be 2 and 1. F will be just 0, outright 0. Which means maybe, you know what? Yeah, I'll put these at I'll put these at D. I feel maybe there wouldn't be any F tier expressways, to be honest. So I think I don't think there isn't actually much of a F tier expressway in Singapore, to be honest. But we'll reevaluate these expressways later. So for ECP, I think B tier for ECP would be nice because 36 actually, if you go on service 36, it is rather quite smooth actually. It's not too bad. Okay, it's surprisingly not congested. You would think that an expressway that connects Changi Airport, which is the most world's best airport, the Changi Airport connecting to the city, you would think that is congested, and also having just like 3 lanes on the expressway on each side. Right, like you would think it would be congested, but it's surprisingly not very congested. I think because people use the PIE. I don't know how the heck it works, but it is surprisingly not so congested. But still, there are still some cars and whatnot. But for now, I'll put this on B. B tier for ECP goes onto the B tier. All right, Service 36. I know. Okay, for some part. Okay, but 36 actually travels on ECP the most. There are 2 other services that travels on the ECP, which is 48 and 518. But they travel only for a short distance, and that short distance, by the way, for 48 is not too bad. Actually, that's like same as 36. Yeah, you sort of look at it in a sense. For 518, it only travels a super short distance on the ECP, but like that is not so congested either. So generally, ECP is quite okay for that. Now, BKE, this one is also this one's actually pretty good as well, but I wouldn't say it's on the same level as ECP. BKE is there are some bus services along the BKE which are or yeah some bus services that serve the BKE, such as 190, 972, and 187. Um, some of these services, rather 187, like 187 specifically, 187 goes from Woodlands and goes into Bukit Panjang, so serves that the first half of BKE, and then there's the second half of BKE as well. So second half of BKE, which is served by 190 and 972. These two, this second half is like um, a bit more smooth, surprisingly. But there have been instances. It's not a lot of instances, but I have rode on 972 and 190 before. I think it depends on what time you actually ride these services, but can get they can tend to get a bit congested. But I would not really say it would be like within the D to F tier, at least a C tier for this one. This is not too bad. Okay, BKE at least is like um, BKE. You know, if you compare, I think like the first half between Woodlands to Bukit Panjang, this first half rather can there's actually more congestion. I would say like there tends to be a traffic jam there more often a traffic jam on that first half rather than the second half, which is served by 190 and 972. So it's a bit interesting. I don't know, but I think it's possible. Okay, so anything C tier and above is a possible. I'm okay with it. TPE, TPE. Okay, TPE and SLE are probably my most familiar ones. Okay, TPE, which is the Tampines Expressway. Riding buses on this one, on TPE SLE. Okay, I'll do TPE first. Okay, on TPE specifically, especially if you do 858. I think during peak hours, I definitely experienced during peak hours. If you do 858 from Changi Airport back to Changi Airport, going back to direction of Woodlands, it can get a bit congested at the after exit 3. It can start to get a bit congested going towards exit 5 area, um, because there are like factories in Pasir Ris in a way. So congested, but it's it's not really a traffic jam. Traffic still moves, but it's not very fast. It doesn't go at 90 kilometers per hour, maybe about like 60, 70. So it's a little bit slower. But in that sense, I would probably put TPE in, because in fact, when you talk about congestion rate or traffic flow, it is not. I wouldn't say this is the slowest. It's actually not that bad. But okay, I just thought about this. Okay, um, there is the currently, at least for now, for this short term, they are constructing something, a new flyover after between Jalan Kayu flyover and the Sengkang flyover. They're constructing a new Seletar link, whatever, going to Sengkang town. So that part can get a bit congested sometimes as well. Sometimes they block off one lane, so there's only like two lanes to pass through. So in that sense, I would say TPE is also on the C tier. I honestly think it's also C tier. Okay, average, five out of 10. But surprisingly for SLE, there's lesser chances for these kind of traffic jams to happen. Um, Although there are still instances where traffic jams do happen, such as at the Mandai area of part of the expressway, Mandai part. But I think any traffic jams or like very heavy jam, I think is less likely on SLE. But I mean, all expressways have had instances where there has been like jams. Um, but I'll get into KPE and I'll tell you, KPE actually is probably the least jam. KPE and MCE probably the least jam. Okay, maybe even KJE. But anyway, I think SLE can probably go into B tier, because it's less jammed than TP. I'll admit that it's actually less jammed than TP. There's less chances of jam than TP. Um, usually, usually there's also sometimes a jam. I don't know. I think it's only in the morning peak hours. Sometimes I go to school also in the morning peak hours. SLE is jammed, but I think these are just like lesser chances. So I don't know how. Okay, again, I think I'm doing this based on like overall. I wouldn't say it's like uh peak hour and whatnot. I think maybe I wouldn't factor in peak hour. I want to do it overall. Okay, so I mean factor in peak hour, but rather on average basis overall, and then like a 24 hour or whatever, 24 hour like time frame. Is it more congested than the other or whatnot? Basically, that's what I'm trying to do here. So yes, SLE is actually rather less chances of jam than the TPE. Surprisingly, I would say because I think TPE has more civilization along the expressway, and SLE not so much. Um, but then again, SLE is the only nearest expressway for the north side. So currently they're constructing the north south expressway. So hopefully that will ease some congestion on the SLE. Um, and on the CTE, by the way. So yeah, again, we'll get to these two later on. In terms of who is the most jammed. AYE now. I think AYE, honestly, Air Raja Expressway, not too bad. I think AYE is AYE is okay. But then again, I think AYE is a bit more like I would say AYE is actually not too bad. Also on the B tier or C tier, but it can. I think it can get a bit jammed, but I will say it's actually not bad. Also not bad. Kind of like ECP uh, flow as well, but I think sometimes it can also get a bit jammed. Services like 154, 97, 197, 198 that I wrote on before. Uh, these ones, when I ride them, actually, it's actually not too bad. But overall, whether or not it will jam, I think is another thing. Jamming on AYE is not a very big occurrence, I would say. So actually, AYE would go on the B tier. Not bad, not bad. Okay. KJE. KJE actually is not too bad actually. KJE, if you travel on 974, only 974 is 974 is the only service that travels on the Kranji Expressway specifically. Um, okay, there's also 925, 927, but again that's only for a very short stretch. But if you want to talk about 974, on the service that's on a long stretch, certainly 974 does the job. So 974 serves the KJE from the PIE point all the way to Choa Chu Kang Way. So it doesn't serve the whole thing, but nonetheless, with that, majority of the expressway is actually pretty smooth. So I would actually place KJE on the A tier. I'm actually, I would say KJE is on the A tier. Maybe maybe I should put ECP on the A tier as well. But because ECP is rather, I would say ECP is a little bit slower than KJE because again factor in the fact that there's the airport, because there's the airport to city connection. It is still rather considered a heavily utilized expressway, but it is surprisingly not so. It is surprisingly smooth, but still only a little less smooth than the KJE, honestly. So um because 974 is if you look at it, 974 actually, we travel. Out of all the times I've traveled 974, actually all of them have been quite smooth actually. So um, and rather pretty fast traveling on the KJE compared to ECP. Um, I would say I think that makes sense. But again, KJE, because it's like not really a connect to city kind of like thing. Oh, but there is one part of the when you enter KJE from the BKE specifically. That part can get a bit jammed. But because again, this from a bus perspective, okay, me riding bus, not from car perspective, okay. There are no service. There's no service that connects that goes from BKE going into KJE. Unfortunately, so because that part does not exist, so I will put KJE as A tier. Okay. However, going to KPE, I'm telling you, okay, KPE traveled a lot of times, okay, on the on 518 and 43E. Both of these are express services, by the way. So, um, honestly, these two services, I traveled on them on two different sectors of KPE. Not bad. Actually, not bad. Um, would I put on S tier though? I think that there's no. I still feel like there's not really any like S tier expressways. Maybe MC. MCE would be. I think MCE might be the S tier expressway. Honestly, MCE actually because there's like five lanes on each side. I think that's why it's not so congested. It is not so congested. If you think about it, MCE is served by MCE is served by only one service, which is Service 30, and surprisingly, Service 30 also pretty smooth on the MCE. So I'll actually put MCE on S tier and KP on the A tier. KPE honestly has been a bit more like, you know, KPE is more like, yeah, a bit more congested than MCE, but because it's three lanes, so a bit more congestion. But I will not, I won't say it has traffic jam. Surprisingly, this or rather expectedly, I guess this the KPE does not seem to have too much of a congestion, uh, too many opportunities for congestion or traffic jams. So it's pretty good actually. Whenever traffic jams happen, it's rather quite rare. So I would say that's my experience, at least from the bus perspective. Okay, remember it's from the bus perspective. So from me riding on buses, at least for KP is for 43E and 518 as well. Express services not bad. However, when 518 goes onto PIE, this is where the problem goes because PIE and CTE, whatever hour, whichever timing you go, it is somehow congested. Okay, peak hour or not, it is just congested. Okay, a lot of cars. So, but I think I may want to put CTE maybe on or maybe PIE on the D tier because PIE maybe not so bad. PIE maybe not so bad, honestly, maybe not so bad. Because I think PIE when you're at the top higher section, when you do 154 or 5, there's actually a lot. Okay, there's a lot of services on PIE specifically. PIE serves a lot of services really. So you got 154, 151, you got 31 in a sense. You have service 5, 59. So many actually. 966, yes, 966. 966 goes on BKE and PIE. So I don't know. I would say these. I cannot really make a decision. PIE and CTE. I think CTE might be better. CTE is slightly better to be honest. It's still as congested as PIE, I would say. But if again from the bus perspective, okay, from car perspective, yes, I would put them on E. same standard, same PIE and CTE, equally congested. But if you look at bus perspective, if you ride on the bus, CTE belongs on the detail. Okay, so it's like, you know, close to pass, close to close to close to passing rate, close to 50%, um, close to acceptance. I would say close to average. Um, because if you ride on CT 857, okay, I think it's not too bad. It's not a traffic standstill. It's not a gridlock. PIE sometimes has gridlock. That's the thing. Sometimes PIE has a gridlock. And probably is the only expressway that has a gridlock somehow. CTE, um, I would say you take 857, I think it's fine. 851E, however, maybe not so fine. So, but I think in terms of congestion, traffic flow, whatnot, I think car wise, they're about the same, PIE and CT. But I think if you are on the bus, to be honest, I think CTE is better. PIE is a bit, you know, PIE is a bit overkill. And it's a long expressway. And actually, yes, in fact, PIE does have multiple sectors that does have congestion. The part after you come out of BKE, 52. When you travel on 52, actually, um, there are some points where it's just a bit jammed. So it's just not very feasible. So that's for PIE. So I think, you know what? I think this will be the tier list for now. I actually think this is what I think about the expressway. So I don't think any I don't think any singular Singapore expressway would end up on the F tier. Honestly, F tier would really be expressways as this literal gridlock for like almost an hour or something, and like it's just really takes too long, and even on the bus too long as well, right? That they have to, and it happens a lot of times, not just once or like, once in a while or whatever. It's like a lot of times, right? That it happens. So only if that happens, I think the expressway would end up on the F tier. So to me, like, yeah, if like I said, it's a very heavy jam. You get stuck there for a really long time. I think I think you end up on F tier, but I don't think any of our expressway should end up on F tier. I don't think it would be an F tier. But hey, MCE is S tier because I have not actually experienced a singular jam on the MCE before. So anyway, what do you guys think? Honestly, this is my tier list. This is my view of our expressways. Okay. Um, this one BKETP obviously. I would say like so. But and actually very interestingly, these are the two expressways that I actually travel on quite often. Really often. So SLE as well. But SLE, like I said, is surprisingly a little bit better so than the TP. So hey, I guess that's pretty cool. I would say. So, yeah. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments down below. What you guys think is your favorite expressway? Which expressway actually deserves to be in S tier? Which expressway deserves to be in the F tier? In your opinion, and whether or not you know whether or not you even travel on these expressways actually is another mystery as well. But you can also put that in the comments. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. This has been my expressway tier list. Also, leave in the comments below what other things you want me to tier list as well. I think it'll be pretty fun. Maybe some Singapore related tier list things. So that'll be pretty interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. This has been the expressway tier list, and yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching.